But really why I'm here is to talk to you about what the ACLU does, answer your questions, and defend the Constitution. And it's not just the United States Constitution that the ACLU defends. One other constitution is very important in what we do, and that's the Montana Constitution. Why is a state constitution important? Well, in your everyday life, in almost all the laws you have to follow in every day, crossing the street, the speed limit, most of the criminal laws you'll encounter, they're all state laws. They're all state criminal laws or regulations. And really, the parameters of those laws are defined by the Montana Constitution. And we have a very progressive constitution here in Montana. It was adopted in 1972, and it's considered literally one of the most progressive constitutions in the world. Now, that's my thought. There are people who can test that, however. Why is it so progressive? Well, it has an express right of privacy in it. That means that it actually has in the text of the Constitution itself, unlike in the federal Constitution, it has a provision that says right of privacy. The right of individual privacy is essential to the well-being of a free society and shall not be infringed without the showing of a compelling state interest. What does it mean to have an express right of privacy in the Montana Constitution? Well, it's very important because it's used as a building block for all the other individual rights and constitutional rights in the Montana Constitution. For example, the privilege, the right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. You know of it as the Fourth Amendment under the U.S. Constitution, but it's also Section 11 in Article 2 of the Montana Constitution. And the way the Montana Supreme Court has interpreted the Section 11, the privilege against unreasonable searches and seizures, is to interpret that and the right of privacy together so that under state law, we have broader protections with respect to unreasonable searches and seizures than they do under the federal Constitution. What's a good example of that? Well, I'm sure Andrew teaches this, the open fields doctrine, in your in his criminal law case all the time. Probably can talk to this a lot better than I can. But say, for example, police officers are going down a county road and then turn off on another well-maintained road, and before they turn off into this private road, it says no trespassing. And then they're going down this road, and then there are trees, and there's a little dip, and you can't see down below, and then all of a sudden down below there's a little marijuana patch. Over here is a house. Now, under federal law, in that open field, they can go and look, they go and can look at that, and it's called the Open Fields Doctrine, and it's not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Okay? Because the United States Constitutional Fourth Amendment has been interpreted to only protect people and houses and this thing called curtilage, which is something to do with yogurt. But for the United States Supreme Court, it also means this area around, a house. But under the Montana Constitution, the police officers couldn't do that because there's a different test. We have a broader test that the Montana Supreme Court has adopted with respect to unreasonable searches and seizures. And the first part of this test is, do you have an expectation of privacy in this area? And if you do, is it one that society recognizes as reasonable? Well, in a case similar to the example that I gave you, the Montana Supreme Court would say, well, you put up those no trespassing signs. And maybe the police always called before they went down that private road. And clearly you didn't want somebody seeing that little marijuana patch. And in which case, there wouldn't be maybe it's a big marijuana patch. Yeah. Of course, then Josh might get involved. Yeah. But under state law, you would be fine. Anyway, the point is the federal constitution kind of sets a baseline of constitutional rights, and state constitutions are important because they can grant broader protections. And we're very fortunate in Montana to have a progressive constitution that grants those broader protections. Sorry. More than 3 to 5 minutes.
Thanks, Betsy.